Hey, how's it going everybody? Sinful Duck here, and welcome back to another Elder Scrolls Online video. Today, I'm going to take you guys through my FrostFire Mage version 2 for Flames of Ambition. This is going to be an Imperial City and Battleground build. Unfortunately, it won't work in Cyrodiil, but I spend very little time in Cyrodiil anyway, so Imperial City and Battlegrounds it is. So yeah, let's go ahead and dive into this one. Alright, let me buff up here, and let's go ahead and start off with our buffed stats. So, here on our front bar, you can see we are at 25,000 spell resistance, 24,000 physical resist. Not bad. It's not amazing, but it's not bad. Our spell penetration, we're at just shy of 8k there. We're 3440 spell damage, and yeah, let's actually get 32,000 health, 30,000 Magicka. You guys can see all of it there. As you can also see down below, we are using the Lover Mundus Stone, Bewitched Sugar Skulls, and it says Vampire Stage 2 just because I ran out of time. It should be Vampire Stage 3 for this one. You can go without Vampire Stage 3 if you're comfortable with it. I enjoy playing as a Vampire Stage 3 because the extra tankiness is just, it's too good to pass up in my opinion, especially playing Battlegrounds and Imperial City. Having that extra tankiness is pretty crucial. Alright, and since everybody always asks this first, let me dive through the gear. You can see on our helmet, we are using one piece of Scoria, and it is light, and we're just using that for the spell pen here. Other than that, we are running 5 pieces of Ice Furnace. I am running a couple pieces of Reinforced here on the legs and the chest. Everything else is either just kind of what I was able to get at the time. There's some Divines, there's some Well Fitted, some Impen. Go with whatever feels best to you. This patch, maybe going with Impen would actually be a good thing. So go with Reinforced, maybe even Reinforced on the shoulder, and then go with Impen on the other 4 pieces. Our second set here, our second 5 piece is Torix Pact. So you can see we are wearing 5 heavy, 2 light. You can mix and match that however you want, but Ice Furnace is a heavy set, so I do have that on here. And then I have got Torix Pact here, light shoes, and then I've got the jewelry and weapons. So I'll scroll through the... I'm doing really bad right now. What is happening to me? It's like my brain won't work. You know what it is? It's because it's early, I just got out of bed, and I haven't had my coffee yet. So give me a second. Let me take a sip of coffee. We'll dive right back in. All right. I'm going to scroll through all the items here so you can see the traits as well as the enchants, and then we'll talk a little bit more about them. Alright, so you guys probably noticed a couple things. The first thing you probably noticed was that this is well fitted. The well fitted is left over from Markarth. Again, I wouldn't go with well fitted, not on a heavy armor build in this update. So make that whatever you want it to be. Like I said, probably Impen. I just don't have the transmutes to be able to change everything nonstop, so that just kind of is what it is for me at this point. On the jewelry, I do have all recovery. Now, you can go with some spell damage in there. I would recommend, if you did go spell damage, probably just 1 spell damage in there would be sufficient. We are running 1700 recovery, and we do have the Netch, so we are getting a good amount from that. We've got a little bit more sustain coming in as well, which feels pretty nice in combat. But I wouldn't go much below 1700 if you're able to. So let me go ahead and get down here into our weapons. Now with Torag's Pact, obviously you always want to go infused. We've gone with a frost damage enchant on the main weapon. As a warden, you get a passive that deals 10% more frost and magic damage. So on the front bar, we're using frost because we get that boost to the damage there. Now on the back bar, instead of spell damage, like most builds would use, we are running magic damage and restore Magicka. This is an amazing, absolutely amazing enchant for Magicka builds this patch. And with the way that we're playing this build, this update, this becomes very useful. I mean, it's very, very useful, very powerful for us, because we are actually able to proc both enchants at the same time in this build. And when this enchant procs with Torag's Pact and infused, you're getting back that 668 Magicka like every second and a half, which is amazing. And on top of that, because it's magic damage and it's a Destro staff, you have a very high chance of proccing the new overcharge status effect, which is going to give you minor magic steal. So you don't have to run elemental drain just to get magic steal anymore. We get it right here on our back bar enchant. All right, with that said, let's go ahead and dive over here into the skills. So on our front bar, we are running Force Pulse. You can use Crushing Shock. I use Force Pulse mainly for outnumbered situations. With our Ice Furnace set, it's going to proc burning, and Force Pulse, once they start burning from that proc, Force Pulse will chain to nearby enemies and deal some significant damage. So I stick with Force Pulse. You can go Crushing Shock if you want. Deep Fissure kind of speaks for itself. Fetcher Infection. This one's up here because it is nice dot pressure. You do get the 50% increased damage on your second cast, and you get minor vulnerability, so you're getting a little bit of additional damage on your weapon enchant, which, in case you guys haven't noticed, the weapon enchant is kind of our main source of damage. That is how we are doing burst, and it's adding up to some very, very large hits in this build. So I'll show you guys some gameplay footage at the end of this. If you haven't already seen it, there is a video with gameplay footage of this build. I'll link it down below. I'll put a card or something wherever it goes, like up that way, I think it is. I don't know. I'll put a card up there to link to it. It's actually pretty funny video, I think, very entertaining, but it shows this build in action a little bit more kind of in depth. You'll get to see a little bit more of it. So anyway, moving on. Bird of Prey, again, another 5% damage boost, and it's our movement speed. And then Blue Betty for the buff, the purge, magic sustain. It's just incredible. Our main ultimate here is going to be Northern Storm. Back bar, we are using an Ice Staff, and we've got Arctic Blast, Crystal Slab. The reason I use Crystal Slab over whatever the other morph is called that gives you the ultimate, this one's going to help you deal damage, and when it deals damage, it's also going to proc your Ice Furnace set. So I kind of like the synergy between those two. There's been several times where snipers will start attacking me, and between this and Ice Furnace hitting them, they go down really, really fast. And several of them don't pay enough attention, and they end up killing themselves. So very powerful little utility skill here. Next up, we've got Blockade of Frost. This skill is kind of like the secret weapon of this build. This is what's allowing us to proc both enchants at the same time. So when we get into a fight, we're going to drop this on the ground, and we're going to use this like our own private little sanctuary. This is our little house here. So we're going to drop this on the ground, and we're just going to stand in it. Now, if you're fighting against somebody that's ranged, it's a little more difficult. You got to try and get up close and keep using it and hope that they kind of just keep passing through it. Try and maneuver the fight in a way that forces them into it. But for most people out there, most players right now are running dual wield or sword and board, or two-hand is probably the most prominent. And for those guys who are melee, You drop this down, you stand in it, they have no choice. If they want to hit you, they're coming in the house. And when they come in the house, even if you're on the front bar, it's going to proc your back bar enchant. So what you do is you drop this down, you stand in it. This skill will start proccing the back bar enchant. While that's happening, you continue attacking with the front bar. You hit them with Force Pulse, light attacks. It's going to proc your front bar enchant. So you will be proccing front and back bar at the same time. And people will stay in this, not realizing what it's doing, because it looks, especially when you're in the sewers, it looks like you're a PvE player. Like, they don't take it seriously. They don't think of somebody using that skill in a PvP environment as a threat, when in reality, it's very broken the way that this plays. So very, very powerful and very misleading to enemy players. So very cool ability to throw in there for PvP. Next up, we have Ice Fortress. Obviously, that's our armor buff. We are using Living Trellis in this one. I believe I was using the other morph in the original video. I threw this in there just so that I could have kind of a castable burst heal if need be for people in my group. I do run in a duo a lot with Zero Maz. Those of you who've been watching the channel, you know exactly who he is. Anybody who plays in the sewers often, you know who Zero Maz is. I run this because it'll help heal him a little bit better if need be, as well as some other buddies that I run with occasionally. But Living Trellis I'm going with for this update. The ultimate on this bar is Healing Thicket. Again, a great defensive ultimate, very low cost. Even as a vampire, it's still under 100 ultimate, which is amazing. So if you do get into a bind, you've got that there at very low cost. All right, now that that's done, let's go through the CP, because obviously since the last incarnation of this build, things have changed with the CP tree. So let's go ahead and start. I'm gonna start over here on the red tree. Show you guys a little bit what I have here. So to start off, max health. You max that out, obviously. Playing a Warden, especially Magicka Warden, you definitely want max health, because that's going to increase not only your survivability, but the amount that your Arctic Blast heals you for. So we got max health there. I do have some points, just enough to get 4% move speed when sprinting. Honestly, it's really not that important on a build like this, but I've got it anyway. Reduce the cost of sprint. I do have some points there. You can max this out if you want, but I did not. Because I try not to sprint too much in a build like this. So 20 points there for 40 cost reduction. I've got 10 points here into reduce elemental status effects. That's just so I can move on. Reduce cost of roll dodge. I have that maxed out. That's probably going to be something in any build that will always get maxed out, but it's maxed out in mine right now. Maxing out the cost reduction for break free. And then I am using Juggernaut. So if we get CC'd, we're going to take 10% less damage. Peace of Mind. Increased recoveries while under crowd control. I'm going to be honest with you. I think I was testing this one. I shouldn't have left it. I think I was testing this one and I forgot to move it back. So it works fine. You can use this, or you can move them up into armor. So that will put you at what, 25, I think over 25,000 for both resistance types. So yeah, you can take this out and move it up here if you want, but this does give you 200 health and Magicka recovery. So if you get crowd controlled, your sustain is going to go up significantly. So this does help, but you can move it up to armor if you want. We are running rejuvenation for the extra 150 health, magic, and stamina recovery right here. And we are running, again, max health. Moving on to the blue tree. Let me walk you through. I'm going to try and do this quickly, but I've got 40 points here, max Magicka. Over here, again, max Magicka, spell damage. I did put points up here, so we are getting another 165 spell damage up there. Down here in the whatever tree this thing is, we're going full into the offensive penetration. I did max out the chance to apply status effects because we are using that magic damage glyph on the back bar, and I want to make sure that that procs overcharge as often as possible. So we did max this out, as well as more spell damage. Moving up here, we also have deadly aim, increases our damage for single target attacks by 10%. So that affects our enchant, our force pulse, any of our single target abilities. That's buffing them up. And the green tree isn't really that useful in PvP. There are a couple things you do want to take though, like right here, the 35% reduced fall damage. I'm really enjoying this. The add 10 minutes, so you've got an extra half an hour on any food or drink that you consume. That's very handy. Helps save some gold. Honestly, this tree, you can kind of take whatever you feel like taking, as long as you grab a couple important ones like the fall reduction and the rationer. So yeah, rationer, break fall. Those are really the most important, I would say, and the rest is kind of up to you. All right, and that is the build. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Let me know down below in the comments if this is something you've used in the past or something you're running even right now. I'd really like to know if you guys do end up trying this out with the double enchant procking. Let me know what you guys think. Does it work well for you? Because I'm having a blast with it. It's working great for me. So hopefully it works well for you guys too. But yeah, that's the build. Give it a thumbs up. Subscribe for more ESO content. Enjoy the clips here coming up. And until next time, guys, take it easy.